Being 7 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bosbus.
Here.
Commissioner Bauer.
Here.
Commissioner Gage.
Here.
Commissioner Gary.
Here.
Commissioner Lynn. Commissioner Ostrout.
Here.
Commissioner Twardy.
Here.
Commissioner Twardy.
Thank you. I make a motion to excuse Commissioner Lynn.
Support.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Why don't those young ladies just lead us off? Okay. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Those with cell phones, if they would please put them on vibrate or turn them off, we would appreciate it. First item on the agenda is a public comment on scheduled agenda items. Any person may reserve time to speak on an agenda item. You're limited to 3 minutes per person. Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to speak on an agenda item? Okay, hearing none. Before we go to the consent agenda, just a clarification. During the city manager's report, we're going to move 5D, which is the appointment of the fire chief, to the first item, and then we'll continue on from there. Okay? So, second item is consent agenda, please.
Under the consent agenda, A, minute approval. 1, approval of the minutes of the regular city commission meeting of February 6, 2017, and February 13, 2017, goal-setting session. Recommended action is to approve the minutes of the regular city commission meeting of February 6th and the goal-setting session of February 13th. Item 2, acceptance of the minutes of the following boards and commissions. A, Airport Board of January 12th. B, Brownfield Redevelopment Authority of November 18th. C, Economic Development Corporation of January 10th. D, Historical Development Commission of February 14th. E, Planning Commission of January 26th. And F, Sault Ste. Marie Housing Commission of December 20th. Recommended action, accept the minutes of the various boards and commissions. Item B, appointments and resignations. 1, appointment to the Community Services Board. Recommended action, appoint Margaret Bosher and Charmaine Wood to the Community Services Board to fill the balance of terms to expire on July 1, 2019. Item 2, reappointment to the Recreational Building Authority. Recommended action, reappoint Ron Meister to the Recreational Building Authority for a term to expire January 1, 2021. Item 3, resignation from the Seal and Osborne Trust Board. Recommended action, accept the resignation of Alberta Dagnall from the Seal and Osborne Trust Board for a term that expired on July 1, 2016, and send a letter of thanks for her service to this board. Item C, communications. 1, from the Sioux Theater Projects Incorporated, approval of a resolution for charitable gaming license. Recommended action, approve a resolution for the Michigan Lottery recognizing Sioux Theater Project Incorporated as a nonprofit organization for the purpose of obtaining a charitable gaming license. And item D, special orders of business. 1, authorize Mayor Bosbus to execute a memorandum of understanding with the MEDC regarding the Redevelopment Ready Communities Program, RRC. Recommended action is to authorize the mayor to execute an MOU with the MEDC regarding the RRC program.
Okay, thank you. Is there any commissioner like something further explained on the consent agenda? Commissioner Gage.
So move approval of the consent agenda.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Mayor Bosbus?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Ostrout?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item 3, special orders of business. A, public hearing of necessity to renew the principal shopping district.
Thank you. City Manager Turner.
Thank you, Mayor. On this matter, I've requested that DDA Director Nepper address the City Commission and community.
Okay. Is Justin? Evening, Justin.
Evening, Mayor and Commission. We are in the process of renewing the Principal Shopping District Special Assessment. It's an assessment that was put in place in the early 2000s when the city first started working with the downtown and the Downtown Development Authority to hire a full-time director. Hyatt Palma study was completed, and the principal shopping district was chosen as one of the main funding sources for the Downtown Development Authority. So the Downtown Development Authority serves as both the DDA board as well as the Principal Shopping District board. The Principal Shopping District allows for a special assessment of 2 mills to be assessed on downtown properties only. It's not on residential homes or anything outside of the DDA boundaries, which are roughly Bingham Street on the east, Osborne Boulevard and West Portage down to Magazine on the west, and then south to Easterday along Ashland Street, and Water Street serving as the northern boundary. There's approximately, I think, about 140 properties that are in the special assessment area. It's locked in. Every 5 years is how we are currently set up for the ordinance, and every 5 years it comes up for renewal. So we had renewed it in 2012, and now being 2017, we're requesting that it be renewed again. Approximately $28,000 is being assessed in terms of the total value of the properties downtown and the assessment. And this money goes specifically to help with Downtown Development Authority operating expenses, with a special focus on the marketing and promotions of downtown businesses. So some of the best ways that you can see that money at work is looking at downtownsioux.org, our website. You can see all of the various events that we do. We have a downtown directory that lists every single business and organization downtown with all their contact information. Just anecdotally speaking, in the last few years, we've seen a substantial increase in the use of that website. A lot of people call my office, kind of similar to the Chamber of Commerce, asking for who to contact, what business hours are open, and looking for information for various businesses and where to buy things, so on and so forth. So that's one of the big tools. Of course, we're currently using social media quite a bit: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find Downtown Sioux, SAULT, on those 3 social media sites, and can see a lot of the work that we do there as well. We also do a lot of general promotion of downtown around a lot of our seasonal shopping periods, so Christmas especially, and then of course all sorts of events throughout the year. One of our big ones coming up in May will be Ladies Night Out, which is a new event focused heavily on shopping and dining and going out afterwards. So that's really where you see the Principal Shopping District money is at work, and appreciate your support.
Any questions of Justin? Okay, thank you, Justin. City Manager.
Thank you, Director Nepper, and thank you, Mayor. Just a clarification on the recommendations. The first recommendation would be to hold the scheduled hearing of necessity, and then the second recommendation would be for the City Commission to take a vote of approval, which is different than adopting a resolution. There's not a resolution that's necessary, just a simple vote.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, we'll hold a public hearing of necessity for the Principal Shopping District as explained. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to make a comment at this time? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. City Commissioner, Commissioner Bauer.
I would like to say that I was on hand for the annual outhouse races this past weekend. Another successful event in the downtown. A lot of people showed up. I believe that Commissioner Tuardi was at the outhouse races 5 years ago. I don't think we had, it might have been 6 years, but I don't think we had 13 people outside of volunteers show up for that event, and we had 13 entries this year, which if you look, and there are other communities that hold events such as this, and that's actually a pretty good turnout, and it's good to see the community go out and get involved in all of these events, whether it's the things that happen downtown in conjunction with the I-500, the Downtown Oktoberfest, and downtown has a whole lot of momentum. Justin, I know, is kind of deflects all the praise that people, including myself, like to heap on him for the fantastic job that he has done. And really, I mean, a vote for the Principal Shopping District is, our way of validating everything that is going on downtown. And therefore, I would like to move that we have a vote of approval for the Principal Shopping District as presented.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Commissioner Twardy.
Thank you. Well, it's more of a comment. And yeah, 5 years ago, that was before Justin got here. And yeah, that at the last minute sort of fell into my lap. And I was responsible for the outhouse races, and I didn't know. I remember you showing up to try and help me. I had no idea what I was doing. So look how far we've come in the last 5 years, and that's what this special assessment does, is it allows us to retain quality people like Justin, who's really helping the downtown area.
Okay, any other comments? I would just like to also echo the sentiment of the commission. I was going to wait till our comments at the end, but as long as we brought them now, the outhouse raises, again, it was a great day, about 40 degrees. That little Templeton lot sort of really lends itself to a lot of people. It was tough finding parking. There might have been, I would think, 800 people maybe down there at that time. Maybe, it was just a lot of activity, a lot of people having a great time, and the different activities with outhouses and with kayaks. It was just a very nice time. So it was deserve a lot of credit, Justin, and Josh was also there. And I don't know who was doing the microphone, but they're doing an excellent job. You could hear it all over.
Scott
wherever.
Cook.
Okay, Scott Cook.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. But anyway, that's any other comments at all? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Osterhout?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Bospas?
Yes, motion carried. Thank you.
Item 4, communications. A, from the Planning Commission, recommendation to approve a first reading proposed non-residential fencing regulations and schedule a second reading for the regular City Commission meeting of March 6, 2017.
Okay, thank you. City Manager Turner.
Thank you, Mayor. On this matter, Community Development Director Freeman is planning to present to the Commission.
Evening, Kelly.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. This is a staff-initiated amendment to address some shortcomings in the fence regulations that were more or less revealed by the Meyer project. Presently, we only address residential fences by name in the ordinance. So if somebody comes to say, hey, what are your commercial fence regulations or what are your industrial fence regulations, we don't have any. So for the past several decades, we've been applying the residential fencing standards to those situations, but they always don't fit quite right because of the specific and very different needs of those different kinds of uses. So what I did is take a look at the fencing regulations from Traverse City, Petoskey, Marquette, Escanaba, and Alpena, cherry-picked what was good out of those and ignored what was bad, worked with the Planning Commission to create the language that is in your packet. I'd be delighted to go through it if you'd like, but otherwise the recommendation stands to schedule a second reading for the first meeting in March.
Any questions of Kelly, other than the fact that maybe you can say, could you just highlight what the difference is in a residential fence and a commercial fence?
Certainly. Well, residential fences by their nature are going to be the most restrictive in terms of the heights and locations and material types. Commercial is a little bit less restrictive, although the front and rear heights are still the same at 4 and 6, 4 in the front, 6 in the back. Barbed wire is only allowed in B3, so B1 and B2, no barbed wire. Industrial fences are a little bit less restrictive beyond that. You can do 6 in the front, 8 in the back, barbed wire in all districts.
And we'll discuss that at the March 6th meeting.
Certainly.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of? Thank you, Kelly. City Manager.
Nothing further, except I appreciate Mr. Freeman's work as well as the Planning Commission's work on this important amendment.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Gage.
Do we need a motion?
Yes.
Okay. I move that we approve a first reading of the proposed ordinance and schedule a second reading consideration of adoption for the regular City Commission meeting on March 6th.
Support. It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Osterhout?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Bospas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item B under communications is from the Knights of Columbus, approval of project to improve the Catholic Potter's Field section at Riverside Cemetery.
Okay, thank you. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. It's my understanding that Mr. Jim Hendricks with the Knights of Columbus is here to speak on this request, and there's also a PowerPoint presentation which has been prepared and is uploaded.
Our former EDC and Planning Director.
Never thought I'd be back here, but here I am.
Every now and then you keep showing up.
Okay, wait.
We thank you for staying involved in the community.
Mayor and Commissioners, I think you're probably aware of this publication that Carolyn Grabowski put together. I think it's maybe 2 years old. And it basically identifies 180 people that are buried in the Catholic Potter's Field. And she contacted Commissioner Bauer, I believe, a little short of 2 years ago, and talked to him about the possibility of perhaps the Knights getting involved to help improve the field, do something to recognize these lost souls that no one has ever recognized before. I happened to be Grand Knight at the time, so I got involved, and over that time period, we've been working on this project. I should mention I got a couple of the Knights with me tonight. Al Victor, I think you probably know from coming to the commission. Our current Grand Knight, Joel Krupa, and then Jim Edward, who's been working with me on the committee to do this. The bottom line why we're here tonight is we've got what we think is a project that we can go forward on. We've been working on it a while, and we've had a couple false turns, and but we've got that straightened out. Bottom line is we'll just be asking for your approval to go forward. But I think I'll go through the slideshow, and I think that'll maybe help to explain the ups and downs of how we got here. So if I can do this without... Oh, there we are. We've been working with Dan Weyer and with Ernie over this time period, and the things that we were concentrating on, we wanted to do something that would be attractive and appropriate, reasonably easy to implement, not a future burden to either the city or the Knights of Columbus. And probably my history of working with the city, very much cognizant of not creating something that just becomes a burden, you know, a few years down the road. So that was always front and center. And then reasonably easy to maintain. So this is sort of our starting point as we're trying to identify how we might go forward. This is the overall cemetery. And this is the site. And here's a little blow up. And you can see on here, there's a pathway that comes right down like this. Oop. Go back a second. Path comes down here, and then this little rectangular area here is where the Potter's Field is. As we got into this and did some probing in the area, we were looking at, this seemed to be a very shaped feature here. And before we got too far, on one of the improvements we were looking at was literally putting a white picket fence around the actual cemetery area. We're thinking very large at this point. But we thought before we go too much further, is this the full extent, or did it actually reach further? And then over the years, you know, some small trees have grown up. So the city had a 1952 aerial. And as we started to look at it, and what I'm going to show you here is the overlay of the 1952 aerial on the current Google map. Now watch as we start to go down here. Lo and behold, there's this huge site right next to it, and we thought, holy cow, is that maybe where it was? But we're in totally the wrong spot. I'll go back a little bit. Bottom line, we went out there and did some probing there, and from working with Dan and Dan talking to some previous people that worked in the cemetery, came back to the conclusion that we're still probably in the right spot here. So that's how we're proceeding. But that took a little bit of time as we went off on the tangent and we're doing probing, and of course we're not going to find too much in the ground there. These are not people that have headstones. And all right, this is a blow up of the project area. And there's a couple of dimensions on that. It's, the actual field is looks like it's around 60 by 290, and it's about a 435 long stretch that goes down to the pathway that goes down there. There's the pathway sort of highlighted. The gate is no longer there, but that's basically the starting point. And there's, looking from the backside back out into the cemetery. And this is a good picture of what the path looks like going down there. It's a nice, straight, clear grass path. And what we're looking at is putting in a sort of a post and rope fencing. It's more of just a sign, just a guidepost to sort of lead you down there. It's not going to really do anything functional. We spent some time trying to look at what would be an easy thing to do that doesn't take much, maintenance once it's in. And this seemed to be something that would fit the bill. This is the actual field area, and there's a couple pictures of what that looks like. And what we're looking at doing is a couple of the signs similar to what we did on Water Street. Those type of signs. This is just a picture of one of those to give an idea of what it would look like. But we would have two signs, one at the beginning of the pathway that basically identifies that the field is down at the end of the path. A little mark, and probably will have some indication on there of people who have donated to the effort. And then another sign, somewhat like this, that'll actually be down in probably in the corner of the field. And then we'll have a bench that'll be down there also, one or two benches. And we have preliminary cost estimates of around $5,500. We're assuming the Knights are going to do all the labor, so this is basically just materials. And working with Dan and the cemetery people and the Parks Department, they've indicated that they would be looking at sort of smoothing the field out, so there would be a very easy effort to cut it once or twice a year, and that's going to work in with the project. And there's a breakdown, and fortunately we had a lot of information from the effort with the Water Street, so I was able to pull out some of those figures from the engineering department. And then this is the rope and post detail. It's around $2,500 for the 450 feet. The implementation plan, we're looking at the final plans and budget and the fundraising and getting the approvals, the commission being one of them. In the spring, we would start to do the pathway and field preparation and a couple samples to make sure we're not running into rocks or something like that where we'd have to change the design a little bit. Get the signs prepared, and then over the course of the summer we'd have the installation of the signs, the pathway development, and the seating area. The steps, Knights make the commitment, which they have. We've met with Dan in the Recreation Department and with Oliver. Make pre-final adjustments, obtain approval from the City Commission, begin implementation. That's it. Be glad to take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions, Commissioner Gage?
I just want to say, for those on the commission that are may or may not be aware, there was a fantastic article in the Detroit Free Press just this last week about the Protestant side of the Potter's Field. And so I think that it's only fitting that we do what we can to improve and acknowledge the Catholic side of the Potter's Field. And it's a crazy, fascinating story. And I had no idea that it was even there. And it's crazy that the Detroit Free Press
We just did that last year.
Yeah.
And did that, so
Just a footnote on that, I was contacted by that same author. Caroline
yes.
called me and told me that she'd given him my name. He called me up and we chatted quite a bit on this. It turns out that this whole project of Potter's Fields that Caroline got going is of statewide interest. Who would have thought? Yeah. And
Very nice.
so God bless her for getting us involved. And
Commissioner Bauer.
I was wondering if I am permitted to discuss or vote on this issue as an office holder for the Knights of Columbus.
City Attorney? Yes.
Oh, good. In that case, yes, Caroline did get in touch with me on that, and this was a project, this is just the kind of thing that the Knights of Columbus like to sink our teeth into, and I think it's going to be great when it's all done. I would like to say just one thing that wasn't mentioned. I don't know how relevant it is, just other than being a point of interest, but the vast majority of people who were buried there in that Potter's Field, I believe, were under the age of 5, and quite a few of them were, young children who had died of influenza, and the parents didn't have money for a proper grave plot, et cetera. So it'll be nice that these people can finally be recognized.
Let me just, we just got these printed today, but we're going to be using this as part of our fundraiser.
Ink's still wet.
Oops, sorry. And on the inside or the back side
Thanks.
is a listing of all the names.
I also need to make the motion, I suppose. Yeah, sorry. I should have. So,
One last thing I forgot to mention, the Knights have already contributed $1,000 to this. So we've got the project started with some financing. There's also been a couple of people that have donated some money. Ganicura, Peter Ganicura, and then Caroline Grabowski has donated something. And we just heard a couple days ago that the St. Joseph's Ladies Guild is donating $300. So this is just starting right now, and this opportunity here will probably start to bring it open into the press. So,
Thank you, Jim.
one motion or two separate motions?
There's two recommendations in discussion with the city attorney. That's one motion.
Okay. So moved that the City Commission authorize the Knights of Columbus to proceed with their proposed project to recognize, improve, and beautify the Catholic Potter's Field section of Riverside Cemetery. And I further move that the Commission allow the Knights of Columbus the opportunity to assist in the maintenance of this area on a yearly basis.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any further questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Osterhout?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 5 is the city manager's report. City Manager Turner.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. If I could please have Mr. Scott Labonte join me at the podium. As Commissioners are aware, Fire Chief Jason Thorpe is retiring after a successful and service-driven career with the fire department that began on March 28, 1989. His retirement will become effective March 31st. This will bring his tenure of service to the community to 28 years. As Commissioners are aware, City Administration has been working for several months to prepare for the pending transition in the Fire Chief position. This ability to prepare well in advance owes to the professionalism and dedication of Fire Chief Thorpe and his desire to ensure smooth transition, as well as the desire of City Administration to assure seamless delivery of fire protection and EMS services. The process for the hiring of a new fire chief formally began on September 16, 2016, when Deputy City Manager Troyer released the fire chief job posting and position description. At that time, interested applicants were instructed to send required materials by November 15th. The position was widely posted and applications from both internal and external candidates throughout Michigan and throughout the United States were received. A total of 15 applications were submitted, and from this pool, 7 applicants were selected to receive essay questions that were to be completed and returned to the city for review. It should be noted that the inclusion of essay questions to the department head hiring process marked a first for city administration. However, due to the role that the next chief will be expected to assume in grant writing, meeting complex reporting requirements, and preparing information for the commission, it was an important component of the hiring process. Following an internal review of the responses received to distributed essay questions, 3 candidates were invited to interview for the position of fire chief. The interview process was exhaustive and rigorous. Candidates began their process with a tour of the city provided by DPW Director Jim Morrow, and thereafter candidates were directed to interview with a staff panel. The participation of the various department heads in this process was appreciated and valued. Following staff panel interviews, candidates then interviewed with a technical panel comprised of experts, some of whom will interact regularly with the new fire chief. Technical panel experts included City of Marquette Fire Chief Ian Davis, War Memorial Hospital Vice President of Nursing and Operations Marla Bunker, Chippewa County Central Dispatch Director Missy Robbins, Bay Mills Township Assistant Fire Chief Ray Baker, and U.S. Coast Guard Chief Planner Stephen Keck. The participation of these experts and professionals throughout the process was truly valued and is a reflection of the City of Sault Ste. Marie's strong partnerships with key institutions. Finally, candidates interviewed with myself and Deputy City Manager Troyer. Following this intensive process and related discussion, it was the unanimous consensus of the panels that current City of Sault Ste. Marie Fire Lieutenant Scott Labonte was the best candidate to serve as the next fire chief for the City of Sault Ste. Marie. The input from the technical panel on this decision was of paramount importance, and their feedback confirmed that Lieutenant Labonte has the requisite experience to lead the fire department in a manner that assures the safety of the community through professional and effective fire protection and EMS services. Lieutenant Labonte has been an employee with the City of Sault Ste. Marie since July 26, 2000 for a total of over 16 years. He holds a bachelor's degree in fire science from Lake Superior State University, as well as certifications for serving as a paramedic within Michigan and certifications for serving as a Michigan Fire Officer 1 and 2, as well as a fire investigator. Lieutenant Labonte has also served as the Deputy Director of the Chippewa County Hazmat Response Team and has led the fire department during a number of emergency situations, has also served as an educator at LSSU, and has completed a number of administrative initiatives under the leadership of Fire Chief Thorpe. Lieutenant Labonte has also been engaged in the community by supporting the annual Battle of the Badges hockey game, as well as the Hiawatha Skating Club. In particular, Lieutenant Labonte is passionate about building on the work of Fire Chief Thorpe to engage the citizenry and engage with the community. Between the results of the demanding interview process, Lieutenant Labonte's outstanding credentials, and demonstrated commitment to the city and the fire department, as well as my expectation that Lieutenant Labonte will embrace every aspect of excellence in service delivery and community protection, I am pleased to submit my appointment of Lieutenant Scott Labonte to the position of Fire Chief to the City Commission for confirmation. Accordingly, it's my respectful request that the City Commission confirm my appointment of City of Sault Ste. Marie Fire Lieutenant Scott Labonte to the position of Fire Chief for the city as provided for within the included offer letter. And just to note that if the City Commission approves this, that it would be my intention to appoint him as acting chief within this week so that there can be a smooth transition assured with Chief Thorpe's pending retirement.
Okay, thank you,
you.
City Manager, and if you stay right there, Commissioner Geary.
It's my pleasure to make a motion to confirm the city manager's appointment of the City of Sault Ste. Marie Fire Lieutenant Scott Labonte to the position of Fire Chief for the City of Sault Ste. Marie as provided for within the included offer letter.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Osterhout?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Bospas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Motion carried. Congratulations, and the microphone is yours.
Thank you very much. City officials, commissioners, Mayor Bospas, trying to do this without getting choked up. I would like to just take a few moments to say thank you for trusting me with this awesome responsibility. Being this city's fire chief has been a career goal of mine since I started as an entry-level firefighter 16 plus years ago. Looking to the future, my first and foremost goal will be to ensure the safety of my staff as well as the residents and visitors of Sault Ste. Marie. And secondly, to do my absolute best at whatever task I'm given or take on. I can honestly say that since I received the offer for this position, I have received nothing but warm welcomes and support from all city employees. The guidance that I have been receiving from the staff at the fire station has been second to none. My wife Jennifer, my daughters Madison, Hallie, and Avery have supported me from day one. I would also like to thank my many friends who have also given me much encouragement and assistance. I would like to close by saying that I have some very large shoes to fill. Chief Thorpe has been an asset to the City of Sault Ste. Marie. Jason has and will continue to be an inspiration in how the fire department moves forward. I very much look forward to what the future holds for the fire department in this great city. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Chief.
Thank you. Thank you. Good luck to you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Chief.
Thank you very much.
Okay. If you'd like to leave, feel free to. Take the children home. We thank you for your attendance and great best wishes on behalf of the commission. Scott.
Thank you very much.
The rest of the department head should stay.
Okay, we'll continue on with the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor and Commission. Item B, under City Manager's Report, would provide for the adoption of goals established by the City Commission for the 17-18 fiscal year. On Monday, February 13th, the City Commission met in a full-day work session to develop the goals for the fiscal year that will begin July 1st. The goals identified within the included report provide direction to City Administration as the next 2 fiscal year budgets are developed. As an integral part of the process of establishing or reestablishing the included goals, the City Commission reviewed the mission statement and 2020 vision, reviewed the guiding financial principles of the city, reviewed basic financial information impacting the city, and also reviewed numerous departmental fact sheets, the 2014 Citizen Survey, current legislative priorities of the city, as well as the status of those goals established for the current fiscal year, and establishing and reestablishing goals for next fiscal year, and finally reviewed and discussed the results of the waterfront redevelopment study. In total, the City Commission established 19 goals, including both new goals and goals that were carried forward from the existing fiscal year, that City Administration will address in detail in the upcoming budget development process. City Administration appreciates the willingness of the Commission to devote a full day's worth of time to this critical effort, as well as the participation of former City Commissioner Bill Munsell. And just to run through the goals quickly, there are 4 categories under which goals are established. The categories include administration, economic development, infrastructure and equipment, and recreation. And under the administration category, there are 6 goals, including the goal to continue to strengthen sidewalk snow removal, the goal to divest select city-owned properties, responsibly returning as many as practicable to the tax rolls, the goal to pursue a robust integration of the U.S. Coast Guard into the fabric of the Sault Ste. Marie community, the goal to continue to increase the focus on safety for city employees and the public utilizing city buildings and facilities, the goal to create a committee that includes members of the business community and community partners as appropriate to reevaluate every city ordinance that is at least 50 years old, and the goal to focus on the Police and Fire Pension Fund by holding annual City Commission work sessions as well as exploring alternatives to reduce unfunded liabilities. Under the category of economic development, there are 5 goals, the first of which is to support LSSU and its students as they are of paramount importance to the vitality and prosperity of the city. The goal to embrace the concepts of economic gardening to create wealth and growth within the established business community, the goal to support the redevelopment of the Maloney's Alley vicinity, the goal to embrace a business-friendly approach in every aspect of municipal operations, and the goal to continue to improve downtown properties while exploring options to free up tax increment financing District 1 and 2 funds for development. Under the category of infrastructure and equipment, there are 3 goals, the first of which includes pursuing funding from state and federal sources for the reconstruction of the Carbide Dock, the goal to continue with the making of visual improvements throughout the entire city, and the goal to improve pedestrian safety so that it's safe and convenient for children and their parents or guardians to walk to school. And finally, under the recreation category, there are 5 goals, the first of which is to support the continuation of Light Up the Sioux, the goal to continue to establish and support outdoor recreational opportunities, the goal to pursue the construction of a walkway at the Power Canal, The goal to integrate bicycle-friendly amenities and features into the established transportation network and plans of the city, and the goal to expand resources that are dedicated for the improvement of Malcolm Field. Accordingly, it's my recommendation that the City Commission approve the City Commission goals established for the 2017-18 fiscal year, as well as the revised 2020 vision for the city as presented. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Tuardi.
Thank you. I move that the commission approve the city commission goals established for the 2017-18 fiscal year and the revised 2020 vision for the city of Sault Ste. Marie as presented.
Support.
It's been moved, support. Are there any questions? I guess just a comment. It was a day-long session, and I thought it was one of the ones that I've been involved in, which is going back a few years. There was a lot of give and take and a lot of discussion. It was just a very worthwhile endeavor, and it was. I was just excited with the kind of discussions that we were having, and look forward certainly to the upcoming year and going forward. I just thank the commission for their input and the folks that were in the audience at the time also for their input. I thought it went very well, and certainly 19 goals is a pretty large plate for the administration. Some of those are ongoing from the previous year and reworded to correspond to the upcoming year. But all in all, I thought it was just an excellent work session. Commissioner Tuardi.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to also comment that, yeah, I agreed with you, and I think that the way that the city manager presented it to us was so detail-oriented that it made it really easy. And the whole time I saw Commissioner Gary writing down notes like, you know, I'm concerned about this, I'm concerned about that, and then at the end he said, nope, everything's being covered. And really, I thought it was really great in the way that the city manager actually laid it out for us. It was, yeah, very detailed. Thank you.
Good comments. Commissioner Bauer.
One goal that was not, presented here, but that Commissioner Osterhout brought up at the time was that we should recruit more businesses that have a history of high water usage. And I'm completely okay with that.
One of our lighter moments. Anyone else? We have a motion and support. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Tuardi?
Yes.
Mayor Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Osterhout?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item 5C on the city manager's report would provide authorization to relocate the city polling locations effective immediately. As the commission is aware, on January 10th, city administration was notified by Sioux Area Public Schools Superintendent Dr. Hall that the school system Board of Education wished to discontinue school facilities serving as city polling locations. On January 25th, myself, Deputy City Manager Troyer, and Dr. Hall met to discuss this direction received from the Board of Education. As a long-standing partner with Sioux Area Public Schools on a wide variety of projects, the city takes seriously those concerns expressed by the Sioux School Board of Education regarding those facilities serving as polling locations. During the aforementioned meeting, it was noted by city administration that if the schools was interested in continuing to use its facilities as polling locations for certain benefits such as available grants, the city police department would station law enforcement officers at those facilities serving as polling locations. Subsequently, on February 2nd, city administration was notified by Dr. Hall that the Sioux Area Public Schools Board of Education wished to discontinue the use of school facilities as polling locations effective immediately, and that the Sioux Area Public Schools would not permit the May 2017 election to be conducted in school facilities. Therefore, City Commission action is required to approve the following alternative polling locations. The first change would be for Precinct 2 and would relocate the polling site from Lincoln Elementary to St. Joseph Church at 1101 Minneapolis Street within the city. And the second change would be for Precinct 3, which would relocate that polling location from Washington Elementary to the Smart Zone and Breeder Building at 2345 Meridian Street. The city clerk's office will be sending out new voter ID cards to approximately 6,000 registered voters within both precincts, as well as working with the local media outlets and social media sources to get the word out. Please note that the city will incur an unbudgeted expense of approximately between $3,000 and $5,000 due to the polling place relocation. It is important to recognize and thank St. Joe's Church and the Economic Development Corporation for their prompt response to the city's request for polling relocations, as well as their willingness to open their facilities to the cherished process through which the city offers elections to the citizens of the community. These partnerships are appreciated. As well, I'd like to thank Deputy City Manager Troyer and her staff for facilitating this change in polling locations within a compressed period of time during a busy time of year and working to identify alternatives. Their professionalism and dedication is appreciated, and it's my recommendation that the City Commission approve the changes in polling locations as presented. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And just for clarification, the first voting will take place in May? Could you just?
That is correct, Mayor. Yes.
Okay, and what is that? City, assistant city, or deputy city manager?
It's May 2nd, and it will be a school election,
School election.
EUP-ISD proposal.
Okay. And then the voters will be notified that that change will be effective
Correct.
immediately? Okay, great. Commissioner Gage?
I'm wondering if our city manager or city clerk have any insight as to why they don't want them to be in schools anymore. I would think that this might help inspire some curiosity and excitement around elections.
City manager?
Thank you for that question,
Children.
Commissioner Gage. I believe that the concerns were oriented around safety and security, and that having voters come into the buildings during school hours was perceived to present a security risk to students and staff.
Well, seeing that they voted for all of us, they are security risk voters are. That's a joke, guys. I find this very strange, and I have to say I'm disappointed that we're being asked to pull them out. It's causing a lot of headaches for us, and I think that having them in the schools is a benefit because it inspires curiosity and excitement around elections for people who will be voting. So I have to admit that I'm really disappointed to see this happen. But with that said, I move that we change the locations as recommended. Is that one motion or two?
Just one.
Okay. Change the motion, or change the polling locations as recommended.
I'd support it.
It's been moved, supported. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Bosphus?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Osterhout?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item 5D of the City Manager's report would provide ratification of an application for a Rural Development Fund grant for the Power Canal Trail. As commissioners are aware, the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development recently offered the opportunity for a Rural Development Fund grant, with one of the proposals being to support infrastructure benefiting rural communities in the area of tourism. This grant opportunity had a deadline of February 2nd, and in an effort to expedite the submission of the grant without convening a special meeting of the City Commission, City Administration conferred with City Attorney Canello, who agreed that the grant application could be submitted by administration as the locally required match would fall within the parameters of the recently submitted MDOT Transportation Alternatives Program grant submitted in support of the Power Canal project. The application as submitted has been included for review and seeks $150,000 to be used as a match for the MDOT Transportation Alternatives Program grant to construct the Power Canal Trail. The Power Canal Trail estimated construction cost is $530,402 as submitted, which had a 35% local match of just over $185,000. The MDARD grant, if received, would cover $150,000 of the local match, leaving approximately $35,000 for remaining local match plus engineering costs, which would put that cost at approximately between $50,000 and $60,000 for local match if both grants are received. Accordingly, it's my recommendation that the City Commission ratify administration's submission of a Rural Development Grant Fund application in the amount of $150,000 to be used as match for the Power Canal Trail project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Osterhout.
I so move that we support the city manager's recommendation.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Osterhout?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Bosphus?
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you.
Item E under the City Manager's report would provide for approval to enter into closed session to discuss collective bargaining after the conclusion of the open portion of this meeting. As commissioners are aware, City Administration has initiated discussions with the Department of Public Works, police officers, police records, firefighters, and clerical bargaining units 4 successor collective bargaining agreements that would become effective on July 1st. Section 8C of the State of Michigan Open Meetings Act specifically states that a public body may meet in a closed session for strategy and negotiation sessions connected with the negotiation of a collective bargaining agreement. Accordingly, City Administration is requesting that the Commission enter into closed session in order to consider information regarding the subject matter in accordance with Section 8C of the State of Michigan Open Meetings Act, and to emphasize this would occur after the open meeting portion of this meeting adjourns.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Gage.
So move the manager's recommendation.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Ostrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Bosvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
And if it pleases the Commission, just a couple of notes prior to moving into status reports. Just wanted to note that the first quarter Citizen Service Award has been awarded to Jason Thorpe, current Fire Chief Jason Thorpe. He was not able to come tonight, but just wanted to recommend him and commend him not only for his service to the community as Fire Chief, but also for his excellence in service delivery. And also wanted to recognize Deputy City Manager Troyer. The city received a letter from the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks regarding her recertification as a certified Michigan municipal clerk, and the letter noted her commitment to education and desire to continue professional growth and her commitment to the profession and community. So congratulations.
Congratulations. Certainly congratulations to Jason Thorpe, Fire Chief, and we certainly wish him well in his retirement. I'm sure he's going to stay busy doing something else, I would think. Okay.
That concludes the city manager's report for the time being.
Okay, thank you. Item number 6, status report.
Thank you. Item A under status reports pertains to police forfeiture accounts, and on this matter, Police Chief Riley will be addressing the City Commission.
Evening, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. At the last commission meeting, there was a request by Commissioner Gage regarding the drug forfeiture account that we have. For that, I submitted to the city manager, and I believe it was included in your packets. It's what I called a very brief description of the statute, and towards the end, the account that we currently have. I say very brief because there's volumes written on this. The statutes themselves, training materials, just books, and it keeps changing. Every year, new laws are coming out, bills are coming out. Public Act, it all started with Public Act 368 in 1978, provides for the seizure and forfeiture of certain properties for certain offenses. There's a misconception that in part of the public that the police are just out there grabbing everything. We're not. And this city, my department, isn't even going to the fullest extent that the law allows as far as seizures and forfeitures. Asset forfeitures, and this act provides for the seizure and forfeitures for illicit narcotic activity, certain narcotic activity. There are other forfeitures in other statutes. For now, it's civil in nature. It's not tied to the outcome of any criminal offense. These are civil. A person may go through the criminal procedure and be found not guilty, and potentially that would have no effect on the forfeiture, seizure and forfeiture of the property, certain properties. That's the original language. I believe, and my personal opinion, rightfully so, maybe this year the state is going to see where these are going to be tied to criminal convictions. They tried to pass it in Lansing last year. There were 2 provisions that were passed, and they tried to get a provision where it's got to be tied to a criminal conviction. That part didn't make it. I just have a hunch that's going to happen this year. The 2 that did pass in the past, before the first of this year, people contesting a forfeiture had to post 10% of the value of the property. That no longer exists. They don't have to post anything. It was called a bond. They can contest it, a forfeiture. If they don't contest it within 20 days, it's considered an administrative forfeiture, and any property that's seized and listed under the forfeiture is automatically forfeited. If they contest it, we go through a court process. That was one of the changes. Another change that the governor made sure was put in, there has to be clear, convincing evidence that the property that was seized was tied to narcotic activity. Before, we just had to make basically a loose association. We didn't do that. All the forfeitures that this department has done are legitimate forfeitures. We err on the caution, and if it's hinky, it doesn't look like it may not be there, we won't do it. We just won't do the forfeiture. We're in the business of protecting the city, enforcing the laws of the state and the ordinances of the city. We're not in the business of making money. I've always said the police departments actually cost cities money, but that's what we do. We're not here to make a profit. And I covered most of that. Just some idea to let you know how serious we take it. I didn't know to what extent Commissioner Gage wanted me to go as far as this question, the account, or other information. August 4th and 5th, 2015, our police department sponsored a two-day training session, which was attended by many of the department heads of the UP. And we brought a sergeant up from Albion who specializes in various kinds of forfeitures. Omnibus, racketeering, drug forfeitures. He actually is working with the legislature to write current laws. I didn't know if that was going to be important. I brought in a copy of the flyer. The account itself, the funds that go into the drug forfeiture account have to roll over year to year. They cannot balance out. They can't zero out at the end of the year. That's written into the statute. They can only be used for law enforcement purposes. It used to be we could only use them for law enforcement purposes for combating illegal narcotic activity. The state a few years ago changed that. Now it's law enforcement purposes. Cannot supplant the budget, our regular budget. This is over and above. It's for items that we normally wouldn't see in our budget. That's written right into the statute. Our department conducts forfeitures for cases that we run, that we have. We're also a member of Trident. Trident is a narcotics team, task force. They have forfeitures as well. There's 3 agencies that participate in the forfeitures, us, the Sioux Tribe, and the County Sheriff's Department. The federal agencies that have members on the team, they don't want to participate in any forfeitures. Any forfeitures that we handle through Trident, whether we do it, the Sheriff's Department does it, they're eventually split 3 ways evenly. And our portion goes into our forfeiture account. We use our forfeiture account to mainly fund our Trident officer and the Trident team. We can't pay his wages with it. That's supplanting. We can't do that. But we do pay for some equipment. We pay for the cell phone. We also pay for equipment that Trident needs that isn't covered under the donations. We provide buy money. It rotates between our 3 agencies from our forfeiture accounts. We provide buy money. Usually it's $500 a time if they've got a case working. If they get a big case, it could be a larger chunk. But they make the request of the 3 agencies, so I try to balance it out between all 3 of us. Carryover from 2015-16 drug forfeiture account was $33,161.87. Deposits in 2016, we only did the 1 year, Commissioner. 2016 totaled $15,851.31. Those deposits would be Trident donations and our department donations for our cases that we handle. Expenditures totaled $18,516.84. Balance at the end of 2016 was $30,000. $496.34. On the last page, I broke down what the expenditures were from our forfeiture account, where they went. Like I said, there's really two more forfeiture accounts. One's related to RICO, similar to the federal RICO statutes. We don't have that. But we do have a crime proceeds forfeiture account. And I have some information if you're interested in that. It's items that are used, that are instruments of a crime or the proceeds of certain crimes. And it's very specific on the crimes. It lists the statute numbers for the offenses that we can forfeit property for. We do take advantage of that. And the whole idea behind all these forfeitures is to take the money away from the criminal, to stop the activity. It's not to feed our coffers. It's not so we can buy toys. You know, it's the statutes specifically say it's for law enforcement purposes, and that's what we use it for. We currently have $7,579.16 in the crime proceeds forfeiture account. The last major purchase we did with that, we bought some covert surveillance cameras for the Detective Bureau. So we're using it wisely. We're benefiting our department, which in turn benefits the city and residents. We don't grab everything. A rule of thumb for the drug forfeiture, we're looking at felonies. Part of the statute does allow the forfeiture of currency in close association with the possession of marijuana. You have a small bag and you got $20 in your pocket with the bag. The statute allows us to take that. We don't. We don't go that route. Now, if you've got several baggies in your pocket and $500, we're looking at distribution, potential for distribution. That's a felony. We will do forfeiture under that. Any questions? That's it in a nutshell. I mean, it's a huge undertaking, but that's it in a nutshell.
Well, thank you for that information. City Manager, anything to add?
Nothing further except that I appreciate the chief's explanation on this as well as the fine work of the department in its conjunction with Trident.
Commissioner Gage?
I have to say that this is another great example of how I continue to be impressed with the professionalism and the responsibility of Chief Riley and the Sioux Police Department. The reason I asked that question is that a number of times you'll see news stories and reports of some police departments that do go out and are almost collecting money to buy things. And I saw this horrible situation where a police department not only was seizing assets, but then using the money to buy a margarita machine for their police department and that kind of stuff. It's bad, you know, like
That helps morale, though.
Right, it helps morale, and that's great, you know. But and so I, you know, when I asked that question, I was under no illusion that was going on here in Sault Ste. Marie. But it's always worth asking to make sure that we're double checking and stuff like that. And so I really appreciate you bringing this to me. I thought you would just email me some information, but I appreciate the presentation, and it's good to know that you guys are being responsible, that you're being reasonable. I mean, because you could, under the law, you could take $1 if they have marijuana on them. You could take everything. And it's good to see that you're exercising some reasonable caution and some discretion.
Commissioner Tuarty?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to ask, so Trident was formed 4 years ago, about?
We're coming up on 3 years.
3 years?
Okay.
Okay.
June 1st.
Okay, so since Trident has been formed and we basically pulled away from like how the state was assisting us and we formed our local collaboration here with Border and Customs and in the city, I mean, obviously we've been a lot more successful not only with the seizures, but how do you feel like overall the drugs? I mean, you feel like we're being a lot more successful here in this area?
I believe the team has been outstanding. They have, under the leadership of one of our officers for the initial 2 years, very experienced officer standing behind me, they have just surpassed everything that I had expected. And the sheriff and I basically put the team together. Yeah. We started the whole thing. So we figured we'd start out slow, and you know, we just weren't getting the attention from the state team. They do a good job, but it was such a vast area, and they were housed south of the bridge, we're north of the bridge. We just felt we weren't getting the attention that we should get based on the crime that we were seeing, the drugs in the area. I've had it mentioned to me, there's a specific dealer from the Waterford area that will no longer come up here. You know, if his customers want something, they got to go down and see him. He won't come up here.
Good.
It's just surpassed everything that we had expected.
Thank you for coming and highlighting this. It's always great to see, especially, I mean, this was you and the sheriff's idea. I mean, I think this was a fantastic idea, and it's proving that it's working. So thanks.
I remember the discussion when you first talked about doing that, and that we were leaving something that we were really familiar with and we had been involved with for a long time, but it seems, and without a doubt, that it has benefited the community and the whole Eastern UP. And again, thank you for bringing that report to the City Commission. We do appreciate it. Best wishes.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks.
City Manager.
And that concludes the status report section of the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Commission.
Thank you. Item number 7, matters presented by the public. Is there anyone in the audience like to make a comment at this time? Cliff? Evening, Cliff.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. First off, I'd like, on behalf of the student government of Lake Superior State, I'd like to thank the Commission for continuing to make a commitment to Lake Superior State and its students. From the goal setting session, I'll be sure to pass along this word to my board when we meet on Thursday. I'm sure it'll be received very highly. Yeah. Other quick thing I'd like to mention, again, on behalf of the student government, I would like to thank City Manager Turner and Mayor Bosbest for putting together and also delivering the presentation that the mayor delivered to our general meeting last Thursday. Was received very well across the board. Mayor Bosbest brought up some great points as far as the role of the mayor, where the city's commitment to transparency, and also highlighting some of the duties of that office, and also the commission, and also collaborations with other entities around the region. We all thought it was very well done. This is the first time that any position higher than, in any office higher than the state commission has ever came in and spoke to the board, which is I get a very big thing from talking not just to our board, but also members of previous boards, alumni, and such. So again, I'd like to make a huge thank you to mayor and city manager for able to get that together and make it such a success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cliff. Appreciate it. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Item number 8, matters presented by the City Commission. Commissioner Commissioner Ball.
Just force of habit.
Ow!
Force of habit.
You look
Wow,
so,
that
you look so
hurt.
young out there.
I'm way prettier
Nice
than
recovery.
him.
Ray has much more hair.
Yeah.
A couple of things. Number one, a little story about something that occurred Saturday night. I was working at the brewery, and a guy came up to the bar. This is not a joke, by the way. I know a lot of jokes start that way. This is not one of them. A guy walked into the bar, and he said to me, my buddy did something really stupid, and I need, what I really need is a couple of plastic bags. And I said, well, what did he do? He said, well, he threw an empty bottle in the middle of the street, and the police saw him do it, and now they're making us clean it up, right? And I thought to myself, okay, now there's some justice, because I mean, these guys were obviously from out of town, and who wants to visit a town? Okay, so they acted up a little bit, but at least they didn't end up in jail, and they got lucky, I think, that the police were so understanding. But it's funny because it happened somewhat in front of the brewery, so I have the big picture windows, and I stood there and watched them with the police lights shining on them out in the middle of the street, picking up all the glass. And I thought, wow, you know what, that's just great. I was impressed by that. Secondly, in speaking of the brewery, and I don't like to talk about my own business too much here, but for those who have not heard, we are distributing now through Marchetti Distributing, and we should be on, I think it's 40 taps in the eastern UP within the next couple of weeks. So when you're outside of the city, just remember that you can support local products, whether you're in St. Ignace, Mackinac Island, or wherever. And I'm going to be busier than ever with all that. And Bill Lynn said to me before the last meeting, he said, "Can I give you some advice after the meeting?" I always take, well, I don't always heed Bill's advice, but I always listen to it anyway,
Yeah.
right? And so after the meeting, I asked him what his advice was, and he said that if you're not going to run for re-election, then make sure that you say something, make sure you come out with that right away. So he's probably right, and I want to say that I am absolutely positively and unequivocally seeking a 4th term on City Commission this year.
Okay,
My hat is in the ring.
okay. Anyone else? That's good.
What an announcement.
Thank you for those comments. Commissioner Tuarte.
Thanks. I just wanted to give an update on a very cool fundraiser that happened on Saturday night at our Puller Stadium, including our very own Coast Guard station. And it was for KDR Foundation. And we're all very passionate about KDR because the city gets to have Bonnie Raphael do our IT. And it's great that the Coast Guard volunteers their time, and they came in, they played the Sioux Eagles Hockey Club. It was a great time. Of course, whenever you're playing a junior hockey team and it's non-checking, I mean, I kept trying to tell the boys, you can't beat the Coast Guard because the Coast Guard is, I mean, come on, let the boys score, right? So eventually it got uneven, and I took the mayor's advice from the Battle of the Badges, and I started buying goals for the Coast Guard, and then other people followed suit. And then I bought some bench miners, and it was a great, great night, really fun time. Everybody had a great time. And Bonnie raised $2,500 for KDR Foundation. So thank you to the community, and thank you to thanks for your support for her foundation.
Excellent, excellent. Anyone else? As long as Commissioner Bauer was talking about unequivocally running again for another term, let me say the same thing. There's been some rumors that maybe I wasn't going to run, but no, I'd like to be the mayor during the 350th anniversary in 2018. And if I'm fortunate enough to win another term, that would be 18 as a mayor at that point. So I'd appreciate your support. Thank you.
Well, can I say that I'm running then too?
Commissioner Gary.
Do you want to mention where we'll be next Monday night?
Where we'll be next Monday night?
Congress banquet.
Pardon?
Chamber of
Oh,
Congress.
yes. Thank you. Next Monday night, I didn't realize it was coming up so fast.
Yeah.
Rosalind Bliss, a local graduate of Sioux High, born and raised here. Her maiden name, Rosalind. You got it? No. We wrote it. She's a lot younger than I am. In fact, she's went to school with my oldest daughter, Carrie. But Rosalind is now the mayor of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and will be the guest speaker at the Chamber banquet next Monday night. Thank you for that, Commissioner Gary. It's a well-attended function, and I know the commission will be well represented. So, and we certainly wish her well. And she was, I believe, 10 years on the commission, and then was just reelected or just elected as the mayor this past, I believe, 2 years ago now. But it'll be exciting to have her back in her hometown, and she's going to be our guest speaker at the chamber. And a lot of kudos to Tony Haller, for the chamber director, for lining that up and having her come back to the community. Commissioner Tuarte.
I might as well. Not that I'm jumping on the bandwagon or anything tonight, but since we're all announcing, I am also running for re-election. Hopefully, it looks like we might have a primary on our hands. There have been a couple of petitions that have been picked up, so we'll see. So I would love to also represent the city of Sault Ste. Marie again for another 4 years.
Okay, Commissioner Gage.
I want to wish Commissioners Bauer and Tuarte luck, because this will be the first time that they'll be running for re-election without running against Jay Gage. So count yourselves lucky, because I'm on the other cycle now. So.
Well, because
breathe a little easy.
After the first 2 times, the third time would have been the charm for me, right?
Here I was being friendly, I was being nice. That's it, Bauer.
Yeah. With that, anyone else? Commissioner Bauer.
Mayor Bospis, I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Support.
To close session. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Final interruption.